Hello, hi, and welcome to Meaningful Mondays with me, Rashmi Shetty, a space where I share my life lessons. And today's is based on a quote of Irfan Khan, one of my favorite actors. 29th April 2020 was when he left the mortal world. But then, a year on, people still feel his presence and love what he's left behind. The work that he's done, the body of work, has just made sure he's going to stay for a long, long time. A lot of actors, directors, and friends of his from the industry and his close family shared very special moments with Irfan Khan over the last week because it's a year and people still cannot accept the fact that he's no more amongst us. I was reading all of it because 2 years ever since he was diagnosed with his health challenge, Irfan Khan had turned philosopher and was journaling very beautiful words. He turned on a very spiritual journey, and some of the words that he had left behind and shared with us as part of his journaling were amazing. One of the best tributes that I read was the interview with his son, Babel, over the weekend. And one quote which just stood out for me, it also was highlighted by the article, was this, and I quote: "He taught me that pain is not something to run away from, because pain is one of the most beautiful aspects of life. Happiness is great, joy is great, but pain is where the true introspection happens," which I thought was so true and powerful. Pain definitely has a lot to teach us. And it took me back about 8 years ago when my elder son was about 17 and was diagnosed with dengue. He was a very fussy eater and therefore had a lot of challenges, and his platelet count never rose. He had to be admitted to the hospital, and after a couple of days, also, the platelet count continued to be low. So the doctor had given us an ultimatum that for one more night we'll observe. If it doesn't, then we will have to go ahead for a platelet transfusion. We were a little worried. And for me, it was a very trying moment, especially with my son. Every night I would sleep with him and walk back home to make sure things at home are in order. And that walk from the hospital to home would be one of the best walks because it gave me a lot of time to introspect. I would notice little kids walking to school early in the morning with their caregiver and could hear them laugh, skip, talk loudly. And at that time, I realized that life is all about these simple joys and not about anything else that money can buy. All of these are beautiful moments in relationships which give us the true joy. And we are so busy doing other things when we have those important people next to us. That night, when the doctor told us this and left, was the longest night. The next morning, 4 o'clock, he said we would have the next test. And I didn't fall asleep very fast. And luckily for us, the hospital told us to speak softer because my son and I had got into a conversation. And so we had to switch off our lights, and I was listening. It was one of the most beautiful conversations we have had because he went down memory lane to his entire schooling years from wherever he could recall and shared all those fun moments that made life and certain classes and teachers special. He also went on to share about those moments he had not spoken about till then, where he was punished, he was shouted at, but they were beautiful. I had a very nice laughter, smile talking to him, listening to him, but tears were also rolling down because I noticed his fear. And being a mother, I was also emotional. The next morning, when they came for the test, they took his blood for the test, and till the report came, They were just holding on to each other. But thank God the report turned on a high, and then on we could bring him home the very same day. Pandemic has also taken us through a lot of pain. People we know and relatives of people we know have either passed away or are really serious or are recuperating. It's trying times, difficult times. The least we can do is to make sure that we are there to listen to whoever is calling and speaking. It's very, very important because last week, three of my friends had to admit their husbands in the ICU, of which one of them has come out of the ICU and the other two are still fighting. Our prayers are stronger by the minute. Life has been very tough since the pandemic started from last year. But this year, it's taken a huge toll on our country. And if you're wondering that you're not contributing much, well, just staying indoors and masking up whenever you have to go out is the least you can do so that you don't add to the swelling numbers that is happening in India. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, understand everyone's going through pain, and the best thing to do when we are in this pain is to introspect, to understand the meaning and depth of life and be grateful for all the little things that we have. Stay safe, stay blessed, have a meaningful and purposeful week ahead.